Hey everyone, it's Chantal Girardi here from Online Business Marketing. And today I'm going to show you not one, not two, but three ways that you can use Facebook groups as a lead generation tool. That's right, a lead generation tool, and it'll be leads that end up converting into sales. So firstly, it's important to know that Facebook groups is an absolutely powerful tool to use that business owners can use, marketing managers can use, anybody who's managing their own marketing. You can't just focus on your Facebook personal profile and your Facebook page. Facebook groups are communities of people just sitting there waiting, already collected, that we can tap into. And I'm going to show you how, because there is obviously an etiquette around it. So you don't get into trouble with Facebook, and you don't get into trouble with administrators, and you also don't be classed as spammy from your online audience as well. So there are over 1.8 billion monthly active users using Facebook groups. 1.8 billion monthly active. And again, it kind of rubs me up the wrong way when people go, oh, you've got to go on TikTok and you've got to go here and you've got to go there. And I'm like, for goodness sake, you have to look at the active users and how many people are there, and just have a look at how much more opportunity there is for you if you can get it right. And right means strategy. That's all it means. It means the right strategy for you and for everyone here today, live or online. It's going to be a different strategy for each of you, but the fundamentals principally will stay the same, right? So I'm going to go through that with you today, because there are huge opportunities waiting for you to be able to use. So the first thing is to be able to find groups to join that have your target audience, meaning that people have gone and set up groups and attracted groups of people together, like-minded people together. And if you can find those groups, it means you don't have to have your own group. You can, just with the right etiquette and with authenticity, be able to go in, and those groups that have already been founded and used, you can go in there, and with the right strategy and the right etiquette, you can go in there now and you can build your know, like, trust, credibility, and put yourself in front of them when you understand how Facebook groups work. So you can directly then seek out and find your potential customers. So for example, for Rachel, who's a termite and pest control company on the Gold Coast, there are already community people who formed community groups in the Gold Coast. So yes, you can go and create her own one, and I will share that's strategy number 3 today. But the reality is she doesn't need to, because there are groups already that have people in the local community, formed groups that she can go in and find them and engage with them. So for example, for someone like Cherie, who's got women that she wants to work with, women who want to go on retreats, and she wants to help them with health and well-being, there are groups of women. She can go into women's groups right now. She doesn't have to go and form her own group. So when you understand that they're already there, it's around knowing how to go out, find those people, and then with the right etiquette, put yourself in front of them and be able to offer yourself and your service as a solution in a non-spammy, non-salesy way. Okay. So how do you go and find those relevant groups? So for all of the online audience watching today through YouTube, number one, firstly, you have to identify who your target audience is. And if you tell me everyone, I'm going to slap you, because not everyone is your target audience. They are going to have common characteristics. So they'll have demographics, like common demographics. So, maybe gender, like male or female, or maybe both. But they're going to have similar interests. They're going to have similar pains. They're going to have basically points of differences and common characteristics or values that's going to put them together. And those are the people that you want to work with. You're also going to know what are the disqualifiers of things. So for example, I like to work with purpose-led business owners who actually are passionate about what they do. I'm not interested in people who basically want hands off their business and hands off their marketing and hands off their audience and hands off their clients. I don't work with those people. So I need to be able to articulate that, identify that, and go, well, what does that look like? And how can I then find groups of people that are like that, so that they're the same people? Because that way those leads are hotter, they are not colder, right? Then you've got to go into Facebook, and you go into Facebook at the top left-hand side under searching groups, and then you can start to use keywords. So if it's women in business, you go women in business and start looking for that. If it's Gold Coast, then it would be looking in the Gold Coast for community groups that have been set up. But if you can really articulate, for me, I've articulated, purpose-led, passionate business owners and entrepreneurs that are involved in their business and want control of their marketing, then I can go and find other groups that have that. If you can articulate the words, find the right keywords. So you use the search bar to go and find those people, and then you can search those groups. The next thing you want to do is you want to have a look at the group's activity. There's no point in going into a group that's in the wrong area. So if you only service Australia and this is, I don't know, in the UK, well, there's no point in joining that group. If there's only 5 members in the group, or if there's only like 3 posts a week, and if there's no engagement, it's going to be a waste of time for you going into that group and trying to get any sort of ground in that group, especially if like nobody's posting, no one's monitoring it, it's not a highly engaged group. So you want to have a look at that group's activity, and it actually does tell you when you go to join that group. And then the last thing is that you go and you join those groups. So when you join those groups, it's around, sending a request to join those groups, and then having a look at the description and the group rules. So for example, they might say you're allowed to promote on a Tuesday. So therefore you're going to take the name of that group and that URL. You're going to record that in a project management system or on an Excel spreadsheet or on a spreadsheet. And from there, then you're going to write a note to say, I'm allowed to promote on a Tuesday. I'm allowed to share tips on a Wednesday. Or if your business, for example, runs events, you're going to have a look at what day they allow you to share their events, because they might have an event marketing day, and that's what you want to do. Now, a couple of other things. So sometimes they'll have it on the banner. Sometimes they'll have it in the description. Sometimes they'll have it in the featured post section. So you do have to just, have a little look at those 3 sort of areas. Sometimes they forget to update their description on the right-hand side of the page, and you'll notice that they've got maybe a pinned or featured post where it'll say, we've updated our rules and here they are. So you just want to pay attention to the featured posts as well. So generally, those are the 3 areas that you would be looking, and making a note straight away so that when you wake up every day, you don't go, which group am I posting in? Where is that group? What's the rule date? Because that takes you forever. So if you're going to start doing it and have some sort of system in place right from the beginning, and making sure that you do it. The other thing you want to do as well is you want to make sure there's have a look at the administrators. So the other thing that I do is I go in and I have a look at the administrators, and I go, so for example, if it is a I'm just going to use wellness again. Say it's a wellness group, it's a health and wellness group for females, for Australian women. And now Cherie goes in now to go and join this group. But she goes in and has a look at the administrator and works out that the administrator is a holistic coach and runs retreats. There is no point, because if that is what she does and this is what you do, there's no way that they're going to allow you to promote and poach their community. And to tell you the truth, it's not ethical. So if you are referral partners, so say, for example, I don't know, maybe they are a bra fitting company for women in Australia, and you're coming in and you notice that, you can go, well, maybe we can collaborate. So maybe I can contact that administrator, introduce myself privately, and see whether or not we can, whether or not we can collaborate. Because sometimes some of the group administrators, not some, in fact, every single one of them, their biggest problem is managing those groups. Their biggest problem is coming up with content, and the biggest problem is managing it. So sometimes they will give you their audience. They will say to you, hey, I mean, if you see like a partnership working with this person and you have the same values, the same goals, and they've grown this group, they might say to you, hey, listen, if you manage the group like on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and you create content on a Tuesday and Thursday, and I do the rest of the day, like you can help me by doing that, and I'll help you by allowing you to post. You've literally got skin in the game. Sometimes they're actually getting rid of their groups as well. They might be selling them or just handing them over to someone else because they don't want to do it anymore. So I don't want you to overlook the opportunity of getting into bed with the administrators, should they be the right person to get into bed with. And I've got a whole blog on how to find the right person to get into bed with when it comes to referral partnerships. Because you can get a rash. You want to get into bed with the right people, trust me. So that's how you do it. So then you've got to then go and engage in the group. So a surefire way of doing it, as soon as you get like a thing to say you've been accepted into the group, when they send you like a little thing, or actually it'll be a notification, it'll go, this group's said that it's okay for you to enter into the group. even though they haven't said it's okay for you to do, it kind of is okay for you to do, to go in and say, hi, thanks for accepting me into your group. I'd love to introduce myself. And basically, you can give yourself a free punt. Okay. Now, I still am a fan of a soft sell. So almost like a casual, like, oh, I own a podcast marketing company on the Gold Coast where we fully produce your podcast. So, so that you don't have to do it. Rather than sort of like a hard sell where you're like, here's my website, here's my Facebook page, here's my podcast. A soft sell is more like an introduction. And for the last 8 years, I've been doing this or that. We're a husband and wife termite and pest control company on the Gold Coast. It's lovely to be here. So act like you're talking to the community, and then share a non-business photo. So not like a professional photo with your logo and everything else, but more like a hi. Okay, because then they'll let you do it. They'll leave it there. They're less likely to say, you know what, she's already come in here now and she's hard spamming. She's going to be a hard seller. Okay. So the next thing is that you want to participate regularly. So if you have your Excel spreadsheet, it means every day you wake up and you spend 20 minutes a day going and following your Excel spreadsheet. So your Excel spreadsheet is going to have some people on a Monday, some on a Tuesday, some on a Wednesday. And if you've got your Excel spreadsheet or wherever, or your project management system, you literally can go in or give it to your VA or your marketing managers and say to them, here we go. These are the groups you've got to go into, and this is what you're allowed to do on those groups on those days. Okay. And the last thing is you have to share valuable content. So valuable content means it has to be of value to the people in there. So for example, for Steph sells B2B and then B2C. So B2C, straight to the customer, people who want to do water fitness, they can go and individually go and buy it. But then she sells B2B. So she might sell it to occupational therapists who may run rehab classes in the water. So if it's a group of occupational therapists, how she talks to them in the group and the content she provides needs to be of value to occupational therapists who are using it for rehab and NDIS, versus she's not going to go in there and tell them, here's how to do push-ups on my AquaGym bike. They're occupational therapists. They know how to do push-ups on a piece of equipment. She doesn't have to tell them how to do their job. She just has to talk to them like they're an occupational therapist, and actually this is how you can use it for NDIS. So the content has to be valuable and relevant to the participants inside the group. Vitally important. And this is why when you do record your groups to join and you've got your groups, make sure that at the end you write some notes. So you might just write B2B, you might write B2C, group of occupational therapists, group of mums, because I do what's called a 5-finger scroll. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I look, I go, right. It seems that they allow hard selling. Ooh, it seems that they only allow soft selling. Ooh, it seems like they only like people to answer questions. And then on the right-hand side, under your notes for that group, you're going to write, hey, write something to go, hey, there seems to be a lot of, if Adam was looking in a group and he scrolls through 5 times, it looks like a whole bunch of business coaches, then he's going to go write male business coaches. So when he puts his content in there, he's going to make sure that he's not going to go, hey, ladies, because there's a whole bunch of men in there that are business coaches, and that group that's going to be more relevant to that group. Okay, so just make sure the more relevant it can be, the better. So yes, you can copy paste your pitches. So yes, you can copy pitch and say, hey, I'm Adam, this is what we do. But at the end of the day, you're going to just change that first line a little bit to say, hey, I help business coaches elevate their profile and reach a wider audience by using podcasting. He's like, just change the first sentence to speak directly and stop the right person that you're trying to attract in that group. And use those descriptive, emotive words. So rather than, I help business coaches, I help professional business coaches, find descriptive words that are going to qualify and disqualify the type of people you want to work with. Because you'll get more of the right people, less of the wrong people, which is good. All right. So an example for you, if Sarah owned an online bookstore, she would join various Facebook groups of book lovers and reading clubs. So she'd be searching for book lovers, reading clubs online. And then she's going to actively participate in discussions, share book recommendations, and occasionally go, hey, listen, there's a new book that's just launched. Over time, she's going to build a reputation as a knowledgeable and helpful member. And what are people going to do? They're going to go back to her little profile picture because she's engaging in the group. So they'll click into her profile, and from her profile, and most times she'll be engaging as her personal profile. They're going to click into her personal profile, look at her personal profile. So make sure that publicly you're sharing on your personal profile your business links so that she can at least then connect with you. Although I can tell you now, most people are still will connect with you privately. I'm sure Rachel can say, even with termite and pest control, they'll still connect with Rachel privately versus through the business page. It just happens because a lot of the groups, the way that they set up is you can only post from your personal profile. You cannot post from your business page. And I know Steph did not like that at all. I had to answer that question multiple times. And you're not the only one. There's a lot of people. But you can make all your business stuff public on your personal profile and all your other stuff private. You've just got to make sure that you do have your stuff there because else you're losing out on leads. All right, so number two. So number two is going into these groups and looking for people who are looking for you. So inside the group of your target audience, they are going to be asking for help, resources, connections, support. And you've got to know how to go into those groups, search for what they're looking for, and then what I call is pitch. And again, it's got to be a pitch that's in alignment with the etiquette of what the administrator for that group wants. So, hey, I'm Adam Bell from PodPro Australia. I'm the podcast marketing guru. We use we use Spotify as our primary platform, but share it out to Apple and da-da-da-da. So share your tips or answer the question that they've asked. And then just say, hey, if you get stuck, send me a DM. Feel free to DM me. Feel free to PM me. So make sure that you've said it's okay. If you need more help, give them some value, answer their question. But hey, if you want more help with that, feel free to reach out. And this is where people don't do it. They also don't do it when somebody tags someone. So for example, I might go, someone could go, hey, listen, I'm looking for a leadership workshop. We want something that's outside of the office, a leadership workshop outside of the opposite that works with team development. And, does anybody know anyone? And I can go at Jess Keenan from at leading changing experiences. And then I can add her at the business. She then has to see that notification and go in and go, thank you, and at me and thank me and say, thank you, Chantal. Because if you don't thank me, I'm not going to do it again, right? I'm just going to go, not going to do that again. I'm going to take my time out of my day to add two things. So you thank me publicly and then you introduce yourself. Hey, this is me. And then you've got to look at what they asked for, mirror it and say, you are looking for something that's out of the office space. Well, hey, I've got horses. How do you feel about your team coming and spending a day doing leadership with horses? And then, of course, putting in some credibility or putting in some social proof. And because they've actually asked for the help, you are then allowed to actually tag your website, put in a book a call, or put in your email or put in your mobile number because they've asked for it. So then you are allowed to self-promo or self-pitch. Okay. So making sure then that you're not just going and finding those groups and posting in those groups, which is number one, but you also, when you do go into those groups to post, you do go in, use the search bar and search for leadership training, search for pool lights, search for podcasting, and all the people that have mentioned those words in the group recently, you can go and find them and then pitch. But with that, it is also keeping an eye on your notification, because people will start to tag you. They'll go, hey, don't you do retreats? And then they'll tag you. So you're going to miss out on those leads if you don't go in. Now, my favorite is when you go in and you go, thanks, Chantel. Yes, I do. I do retreats. If I ever see any one of my clients doing that, I'll just die. It's about going in and going, yes, I do. And then look at what they've said and what they were looking for. Mirror it back and go, we do this, this, and that, because they might ask for it. You know, someone's an expert. Yes, I am an expert in that. Whatever they say, you just mirror back. But then always put your glitter in. Your glitter, because your glitter is going to qualify and disqualify right and wrong people. And what will happen is what happened with Jess. Jess actually, I think Jess read somebody else's post. Jess went in looking for B2B inside a Facebook group, saw my pitch on B2B, and then contacted me. So she wasn't even asking the question. So when you put your glitter in, the right people will see it. So it's not just the person who referred you or the person who asked, but people who are scrolling through the groups will see you as well. And when you've got your glitter will attract the right people. Okay. All right. So let's have a look. Okay, so you want to make sure that you use the search function. I've already said that. You want to make sure that you're monitoring it daily, because at the end of the day, it's whoever gets in first or whoever does it best first. So you can imagine if someone's doing a building and pest inspection, they've just bought a house. It's normally happens in a week or two. They've got, I think a week, they've got to do a building and pest inspection. They go out to Facebook and go, we're looking for a building and pest inspection. Do you think if Rachel checks once a week or once a month, she's going to lose out on that? So you have to check your notifications, and you've got to get in and pitch, and then whoever pitches best gets the client. Because you're not going to be the only person pitching, but I don't want you to sacrifice your glitter. You don't sacrifice your glitter. Even if a client's asked for something, so say somebody says, I'm looking for paid advertising, I'll come in and I'll go, if you're open to something else, like what I'm an expert in is helping people not have to use ads by getting the fundamental strategies right. So I don't go, hey, that's a whole lot of bullshit. I just say, hey, if you're open to something else, I can help by doing this, you know, if you're of interest, and either it's of interest or it's not. But don't compromise your glitter, your values. So monitor daily, make sure that you have thoughtful responses that are detailed and valuable. And of course, follow up. So whatever that method looks like, it can be a nightmare as well. The OBM Hub software, so obmhub.com software, if you've got your Facebook and your Instagram and everything connected to the platform, all your messages all go into one platform, which means you can reply to everyone there, but it doesn't do it for your personal profile, which means I then have a leads sheet, and on my lead sheet, or if you've got a CRM, you can go in and you can put that in there and then go, right, I need to follow up on them. So I had to follow up on Jess through Facebook Messenger, through my personal profile, and a new client that came as well, Priscilla, and actually Steph came through Facebook groups as well. So you want to make sure, that you're following up. Follow up on those leads. They need 5 to 10 touch points, and get them off social media as quickly as possible. Get them onto a phone call. So be genuine, showcase your expertise, always have a next step call to action. All right, so an example for you is John. So if John's a graphic designer and he does logos for people, he's going to join groups that have business owners in them. And then he's going to, if anyone is asking anything about logo designs, or I need a new logo, he's going to search for that, and he's going to pitch on how he is the best logo designer for that. So he will pitch, and then of course he needs to be able to follow up with those people. But eventually, if he keeps doing that and building relationships with people and sharing tips on how to choose a logo, or how to come up with a logo, or how to use your logo in your business, he's going to become the logo guy. And if no one else is doing logos, guess what? He will be the logo guy. Everyone will start tagging him. I get tagged from people I don't even know. They tag me and go, speak to Chantel. All right, next one. So number three then is about creating your own Facebook group. Now, here's the thing. Creating your own Facebook group is attraction marketing. It's a great lead magnet. You can attract people in and you can nurture those people into using your services. Now, because it's your group, you can self-promote the hell out of it. Although I would still obviously add value, because else what will happen is members will leave. But it requires management. Okay. So if Adam decides to run a Facebook group for up and coming podcasters, so he might go from podcast flop to podcasting guru and increase your influence. He might have that as a group. People will start to join that group because they're looking for help. He's sharing tips on how you can do it all the time, but he's going, hey, I can also do it for you as well. So he can promote in that group. So a couple of things is you've got to make sure that, actually, let me follow my notes because else I'm going to go all over the place. You will get to build your community around your ideal audience. You'll be able to engage with them directly. You'll be able to position yourself as the authority and expert. If any other podcast person try to come in there and pitch or steal or direct message people, he could just say, this is my group. We don't allow any other podcast marketing agencies into the group. It's his group. He can do whatever the hell he likes. And at the end of the day, so then anyone else coming into that group gets the opportunity to grow, to expand the influence in that group. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you define the group's purpose. And the purpose is basically the strategy, a clear and specific purpose for the group that aligns with your goals. It is outcome focused and it is audience. It's always audience specific, because if your audience is not interested in it, it's not going to happen, right? Then you're going to set up the group. When you set up the group, the name is super important. The name of the group is super important because the name is going to attract the right people. You need to write a compelling description, which says, the compelling description says, this is what you can expect from me. And you want to give them some sort of consistent routine, so it's reliable. But then you need to let them know what they're allowed to do, so that they feel confident that they can also do stuff. Because at the end of the day, if it's not a two-way conversation and you just talking at them the whole time and not giving them a chance to actually, I don't know, engage or promote, the group will go flat. And that's where people go wrong, is where they get a VA or someone to manage their group and they keep throwing content in there, but they're never actually getting feedback or engaging their audience or giving them an opportunity to share stuff. Then you want to understand and set up your privacy settings, knowing the difference between public and private. And then you want to make sure that you are lead capturing, meaning that you do not let anyone into the group unless you get an email address, because the number one rule of lead capturing is to get an email address. And the number one rule of social media is to get people the hell of social media. So therefore, it's like it needs to be a required field that they put their email address in so that you can at least have them on your database, because you do not own that lead. You do not own the lead if they are in Facebook. If Facebook comes and takes away your personal profile, you will lose your group unless you've got another administrator there. That is why I've got 2 personal profiles, because I have a backup one because I lost my profile for 3 months. That means I could not get into my groups. So always make sure that you've got another administrator in there that you trust. But you do not own those people. You might have 5,000 engaged people in there and Facebook could come and go and take it and they're gone. But if you've got 5,000 email addresses, guess what? Hey guys, I set up a new Facebook group. Facebook took my profile away. Here we go. Join here. You have their email address. You only own that lead when you have that email address. So you can offer them a lead magnet. And you would want to make sure that your call to action is always book a call if you want to work with me, or go to the website. You want to use qualifiers and disqualifiers in the questions when they're joining the group, because I do not want these people and I want these people. This group is for, this group is not for. And then you want to set up your group rules and your themes to ensure that you're going to get quality engagement. Really important. Then you need to promote your group constantly. Like I said, having your own group requires management. And this is why you may just choose to engage in other people's groups, because it requires constant posting, engagement, monitoring, but also growth. So you've got to share your group link on your website, your social media channels, your email newsletters, constantly getting them from everywhere else back into that group, but making sure when they get into the group, you get their email address. Do not forget that. And getting all your customers to join your group. And then, of course, you've got to post regularly. You've got to host live sessions. You've got to do Q&A and discussions. So it's a two-way conversation. Encouraging members to also share their experiences and questions. Because if you talk at them, the group will die. So make sure that you provide value, content, tips, and offers with your group. Always be interactive. So you've got to respond to them. If they're asking questions or responding, you can't just not answer them. You'd never get a second date. If you had a date and they were asking you questions and you weren't answering them, it's not reliable. And you want to foster a sense of community. So you have to be a bit of a rah-rah. Then look at your group insights. So like every other platform, you look at your insights and you review your insights to make sure that the content is resonating with your audience so that you can adjust your content marketing strategy in the group and go, this is working, this is not working, what can I do better? So to use an example, if Emma is a nutritionist and she creates a Facebook group called Healthy Eating Tips and Recipes for those who are gluten intolerant, because that's her glitter, then it would be sharing posts on nutrition advice, healthy recipes, and success stories from her clients. She would foster a supportive and informative community. She could attract 5,000 members within 6 months, getting all the email addresses so that she can make offers to them and continue to build a know, like, and trust. And she would then become a significant source of leads for her nutrition business. So Facebook groups is an absolutely robust platform for business owners and marketing managers to increase their online visibility and credibility so that they can generate leads and become the go-to. So by joining relevant groups, actively seeking out opportunities within groups, and then looking at how you can have your own Facebook group as a lead generation tool. It does require management, but you can get leads from it. I'll use an example. There was a lady who did Lomi Lomi massages in Sydney in a small outside town, and there was no community group in that town. There were community groups, Facebook community groups in every other town, but not that town. So she started a buy, sell, and business promote group in there to get all the people in her community to start joining this group because there wasn't one. But what could she do? She could then advertise her Lomi Lomi massage in that group. So there wasn't one. So she had to do it, really. All right. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube right now, comment below how you use Facebook groups. Also, if you'd like to be part of the live audience, then you do need to be a client. So you can follow us on the website on onlinebusinessmarketing.com.au. You can also subscribe to be kept in the loop and get these recordings. But for our live audience, they get the bonus now of going behind the scenes, and I'm going to show them exactly how to do all three things.